information here on his weight training system. Tomorrow, he'll be able to coach you in the throws as well. Okay, so Dr. Rodhe, you take it away.
Thanks, son. Thanks, Sean. Okay, some of my expertise comes in for the weight room. It's doing the minimal load on the body for maximum results and spending the least amount of time in the weight room as possible. Another realm of my expertise is adapting a training program to any facility or any schedule. I spend a lot of time on the road. A lot of times it's a different city every day, different training venues. So in terms of adapting your program, using tools properly and most effectively, that's where a lot of my background is coming from. Today, the main thing we're going to talk about across all the elements is always trying to set up a stretch, reflex, and throw. Always having a long pathway. A lot of times in throwing and in lifting, we like to get fast. And when you're not a tempered athlete, fast becomes short amount of time, not as much distance in time. Okay, fast is moving distance over time, not completing a movement in a short amount of time. Okay, you can do a short movement fast, you want the long movements fast. When in lifting, your strongest repetitions, the ones that have the most impact on your body for adaptation, are always going to be the second and the third rep. The first rep is always a setup. Second and third are strongest, depending on the athlete with the lift. 2 or 3 can be the strongest, and then every subsequent rep after that falls off more and more and more. So the most bang for your buck is three rep sets minimum, upwards to 5 is your goal range in throwing. All lifts, I assume Dane talked about grounding, flat feet. All lifts, we're going to talk about pushing flat feet through the heel. Something for teaching young athletes how to start lifting is I like to use very, very simple cues, and a lot of our Olympic lifts start from hip hinge, okay? And I like to cue my athletes just big chest, big belly, and when I talk about big belly, I want them long, from the hips all the way to the sternum, long through the belly, big here, and then as we go down, I say big butt back, right? So we have big chest and big butt, and those simple cues tend to get most of your athletes simply into a proper position. The other thing with saying snatches and dumbbell swings and squats, a lot of times you see hips coming in and under the body, and one of the first things I work with athletes on is moving the hips, getting the hips moving. And we'll simply talk about pushing the hips back away from the body, push the hips away from you toward a wall, and then bring the hips forward. And that'll be the only cue the athlete works on to get them falling into the proper movement patterns. Okay, another thing. Lifting shoes. Lifting shoes are fine, they're great. If you can't afford them, I prefer athletes lift in their throwing shoes. I think the throwing shoe provides not only a sport-specific platform to train in, it's also relatively flat, doesn't provide a whole lot of arch support. The exception to that would be the Saucony shoes. Don't ever buy the Saucony shoes. If you have them thrown out, buy something else. They're junk, they're crap, they force your foot in the wrong position. Don't lift in those, don't throw them. Okay, any questions on that? No? Alright. Some simple activation stuff. What ended my career, among a few other things, was a severe tear to my left adductor. All of your internal thigh muscles attach on your hip bone, and I tore half of those off my hip bone. So something else I hit big time is activation of the adductor, the glutes, the hip flexors. some simple warm-up stuff for your kids. At home, I've got a Rodhe RM6 rack that with all the holes in it, and we can put the band pegs in at whatever height we want. Loop the bands around the squat rack. And here, Sean right now actually has my multi-hit machine.
That was a fair trade. That was a fair trade.
The multi-hit machine, is the one with the pad that goes on a circle around, and you can do a lot of these movements against resistance. I prefer one of those machines. If you don't have one, you can do a lateral here. Get the abductors there, and then you get the band up high, and you can pull that leg down. Okay, as a warm-up activation. Flip sides. The other variation for that, you tie your band off low. Come across the body here. Turn around. And go to the outside. Alright. And you can play around with doing a pause. And let the athlete come back in. Also varying the band tension. For the athletes that start to get really, really strong, you tie the band up at thigh height, put it around the knee, and have them start coming across the body. This then puts the athlete in a single support, elevated free leg, very similar to the middle and end rows. And then very simply, banded kickbacks and banded knee raises. Your athletes, they get into a good rhythm here, and they can smash through this stuff in 3 to 5 minutes. Tie your band off about knee height. Have them kick and extend, glute through the heel. Okay? Keeping the hips and shoulders level. Both legs that way. And tie another band off low. Loop it around the foot. And now we're going to do knee raises. Okay? This stuff's going to get adductors, hip flexors, everything nice and warmed up in the posterior chain in the lower core. Hip bridges, single leg hip bridge, left and right. I like to use those a lot too. Okay, any questions on that? I've split up, we're going to do each throwing discipline, 2 main exercises. The idea in the notes is that these 2 lifts will impact that event the most, as opposed to any of the lifts on the page. Kenzie here is going to be our main demonstration model. I worked with her last year as a high schooler. She went from 30 feet to 36 feet to shot. PR at the regional meet, made the states, and then did really, really well through about 95% of her best at the state meet, first time there. She's currently at Baldwin Wallace College, freshman year of training. She's going to take us through some hang cleans. Sorry. And hang cleans, hang snatches, for throw and transfer, while we're looking for high catches. A lot of times athletes will see low catches from them. Kenzie, please. Low catch. Low catch. Low catch. Okay, now please give us a high catch where the athlete's almost standing completely straight up. Good. The high catch forces the athlete to pull longer. Okay? Longer pull, stronger rate of force development. If we're running, we'll say for the hang snatches and hang cleans today, we're going to run a 3-rep set as an example. For my athletes, to keep speed on the bar, there's something called infinite go. And infinite go, for me in lifting, is the lift begins as soon as your hand touches the implement. As soon as you touch the bar, the lift begins, and you're on the clock. And we want to get the work done as quickly as possible because the throws at max take 1.5 seconds in the hammer, maybe upwards of 2 seconds. So time on bar is crucial. For that reason, in the multi-rep sets, we do half catches, half catch 1, 2, full catch 3. Kenzie, can you please show us that? The pulls there were a little short, but we like to come a little higher than that. But the idea is that you do not come fully under the bar and fully rack it out until the very last rep, because we are mostly concerned with time on bar and the reversal of the energy. We want 0 time on the bottom. A lot of times, athletes, especially if you're training too heavy, they get on the bar here, hanging out, hanging out, hanging out, and then up. We go down, hang out, hang out, hang out, down, and up. No, we want the most effective lifts in the hang clean hang snatch. You come down, down, and catch. As little time as possible, reversing direction. And create straps. We'll do the strap demonstration with the snatches. But if, when all possible, if the athlete's grip is in question in terms of gaining bar speed, put straps on. Grip strength is not critical in throwing football. We'll expand on that when we get to the snatches. Okay, bench press. Bench press, we want the elbows out pretty wide. Pull up. Elbows out 90 degrees. We don't want to see anything inside. A lot of times you see your linemen will come in after fall training and they want to bench press in here. Great for football, not for throwing. Get the arms out. I use a pad for almost 90% of my bench press. These pads will slide under the shirt. And what we're going to do is pull the bar into the chest, set up the stretch reflex, 0 time on bottom, exploding up. Go ahead and give us a few examples, Nancy. Pull the bar down. Okay. Didn't check your safety catches, huh? The reason for the pad, we use this in almost exclusively in my own professional training, and it was kind of like voodoo back in the day. Now a lot of people are using it because it works. Why does it work? When you're throwing, your body has momentum already. When you get to the bench press stage, bench press muscles of the throw, you already have momentum. The arm and implement have momentum already. The pad gives a little bit of momentum to mimic that in the bench press, and then your arms are free to replicate the speed and forces that you're going to use in the throw. Okay? I use these for travel purposes. These are TheraBand. I think the green is probably best. And for your home gym, what works really, really well is tearing like a bench pad off a bench. And you have somebody lay the pad side on you, and the board is against the bar. Don't mistake this for board benching. That's totally different. This is dynamic. We're pulling that bar into us, almost crushing your chest a bit to get the reversal direction. Fat bar bench pressing. The fat bar, the theory is that you get more hand surface contact on the bar, stronger push. It does put your wrist into a more natural, strong position. The problem with that, I don't use fat bar benching because you're not free to pull that bar back into you. It's a little too wide, your grip isn't strong enough. And I want my athletes having complete control of that bar, so it's a dynamic lift. They are controlling it, not they're under it and lifting it off themselves. Right? They're pulling it in, pushing it out, complete control. And that comes under some of our grip strength. Okay, any questions on that? Those are two main main primary lifts for shot put, rotational shot. Okay, discus, we're going to go to handstand, which is left of your bar. Okay. These are teardrop or loop lifting straps. I make these. I prefer. Does anybody have a pair of lifting straps in their bag, perchance? Like the cotton webbing ones you use? Pick on you. I don't have any. I just thought it'd be good for a demonstration. I thought you'd be careful around. Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody come over here. Come on. Gather around the bar. Leather will not tear catastrophically. You're going to get a small tear, and it's going to inch its way across. It will never go all at once. Cotton webbing, you get one small fray in there, and it will go all the way through all at once. How many people have seen a bar break? Sean Donnelly?
I did it like 2 weeks ago.
Was it a cotton?
No,
It was leather? More equipment maintenance.
yeah.
Okay. These straps, right? Here, most times you have to get the hand in there, wrap it around multiple times, right? These, one thigh up, one hand, you're cinched in, there you go. Now, when you have these other straps, these single loop straps, look at, once you're up, the amount of what's connecting you to the bar is this tiny little bit of material here. And a lot of times that gets all scrunched up, right? And it ends up looking like a taut, tight 90-year-old man's tendon in there. That's the only thing connecting to the bar. With these leather loop straps, look at how much material is wrapped around the bar. See how much material contact is on there? And your hand is ratcheted in there. Your grip strength is very, not as important as on the left side, okay? And you're locked in, you can rip on this bar for all the speed you want. Guaranteed no failure from that strap, all the material wrapped on the bar. And when you're done, this has a quicker release. This unravels, takes time. If you get into trouble, you need to drop the bar. These are much, much safer. Okay? So that's the strap expose. Okay, guys, hang snatches. Oh, grip strength. I want to talk about, okay, we'll do some hang snatches. We'll do grip strength later. What's my time here?
Or 14, sorry. You got 35 minutes.
All right, hang snatches. Again, we're looking for a high catch. Can you please show us a low catch? Low catch. We don't want that. We want high catches. All the way up, even higher, please. Boom! All the way higher, kids. Higher. Okay. I'll show you. Kenzie hasn't snatched in 4 months. I'm not controlling the lifting program right now. So, okay. High catch, hang snatch. Way up here. Boom! Athlete standing straight up and down. Slight bend in the knees and the hips. Long all the way up. Zero time on bottom, setting up the stretch reflex. Okay, hip snatches. Hip snatches have become really popular in the last few, we'll say, 2 years since you guys started throwing them out of Chula Vista? Yeah? Yeah. Year and a half? Yeah. Okay, hip snatches. Good test exercise. How strong are you? Put the bar up. Does anybody not know what a hip snatch is? This is where instead of dropping the bar down to mid-thigh before coming up, you go extra wide, you stay on the hips back, and straight up over the head. Okay. Good test exercise. Very little transfer to your lift because there's no speed. Once you're up, you cannot return down to the hips and back up as quick as you can from the hand. Okay, so hip snatches are pretty much one rep thing, like a vertical jump. Test, but not for training. Okay, back jerks. Right there. Yeah, back jerks are preferred. We come to a split stance. Split stance being the preferred power stance of the thrower. As you get better and better with the back jerk, we want to get to a point where you're pushing up, 0 time on top, and you're pulling that bar back down into your body. Go up, pull it down, and back up to the next rep. Okay, if you want to try that, pull it down. Okay, that's the idea. You haven't done back jerks for a few months too, right? Yeah. The thing with the back jerk, fantastic exercise for power output. Make sure you have a non-slip surface on the back. If the kids are wearing like breathable or Under Armour or slippery shirts, those aren't great for that because it's easy to come down and the bar slips and you end up kind of hyperextending the shoulder a little bit. I don't think we're going to be able to set up how I normally like to on the squat racks. But ideally, for a single leg squat, you either have a stand with a rolling pad on it that you slide it to your squat rack, or if you can get your catches low enough down to here, you put your bar across and slide a hollow roller over the bar, and now that can be your roller in the back off your foot, right, for your single leg squats. If you take one of these and cut it in half, based on the setup of your gym, if you have room on the, let's say these racks were reversed, room on the back side, cut these in half, you drop all the weight off these lower pegs, and now you can do your, standing this way, you can do a single leg squat off that band peg. Okay, that's a nice setup based on space available to set those up. We'll just pretend like this is a rolling pad. Getting the rack, drop it back. Yes. Single leg squats. Again, 0 time on top, 0 time on bottom. Bump, 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 bump. Up and down, up and down. Again, ideally this is a roller, so that this knee is free to flex. When you're doing these, the idea here is you want to focus on pushing the knee straight down. Push the knee down, the rest of the body falls into place. I actually prefer these done with a front load. Kenzie, can you show us a front load? Front load, why? Because with throwers, we carry everything that's on the front. Front load front squat, or front load single leg squat. Also, okay, Kenzie, come up. Now show us the split leg. This is a variation of single leg squat that I really like to use. It takes you away from the mechanism and puts the athlete same position, but they're in double support. I like double support. That's how we throw more sport specific. Sean Donnelly and I actually had an argument last year, 2 years ago, about who came up with this first. You and I, we had thought of this. It's not me. No? It's Rick. Oh, Rick Fender. On the single leg squats, it's okay to train that different weight for different legs, especially if you have a glider and they're stronger on one leg, they're stronger on their push leg. That's fine. Load them up. Do whatever weight we can per side. Throwing is not a balanced activity. You're never going to achieve a perfectly symmetrical strength. Like left-handed throws, if you're a right-handed thrower, that stuff, it's not going to work. You're never going to get balanced. It's okay to train imbalanced. Okay, close grip handstand. Yeah, just bars, fine. Periodically, I'll prescribe close grip or wide grip stuff. When I say narrow or close grip, I mean narrow and close. I say wide, I mean wide. And if you got to back the weight off, that's fine. This will be for the weight hammer. We're looking for limited flex of the arms. Come all the way out. Come all the way out of the back. More narrow. Face the ground. More narrow than that. A little more. There. Right there. Limited flex of the arms all the way up high catch. Good. One more. Good. Okay. Now, let's go to the med ball jumps. Grab my med ball, last one. 120 man hours to make this leather medicine ball. Okay. It was a vertical jump, med ball hold. Good. The idea is you come down to your hammer weight catch position, reverse the direction of the force. When you throw hammer and weight, you have two engines, and they're both triangles. You've got the implement all the way up your arms to your shoulders, one horizontal triangle, and that's one system of strength. The other system of strength is your shoulders down at the center of your hips, and that's the second triangle. You've got these two triangles working together to produce the rotational force. And when doing lifts for hammer weight, you always want to try and emphasize getting those triangles into your lifts. Javelin, what's our time?
20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay. Javelin, I'll go through this quickly. Javelin, I prefer off a cable machine. Cable machine down below with a handle. You get in the javelin position and you have tricep pull over off a cable, okay? And that's looking for long pull where the feet don't move. And you can go ahead and hit that both sides and the jab, bringing this arm down, so it's okay to hit that both sides. Vertical grip if possible with the javelin. You don't want to have your hand flexed out, always in line with how the javelin's going to be. Jumping exercise for the javelin, alternating lunge jump here. You have both hands, pull the body up, split the legs, catch where your crossovers would be. And to add weight to that, you can carry a weight plate or a med ball as you're doing those jumps. Add more, hit your core more. Questions on some of that? Variations? No? Okay. All right, Kenzie, let's do push-ups. Shot put push-ups. Shot put push-ups. That's not a shot put push-up. No. Hands turned in. There we go. A little wider, a little wider. Good. Hands shot put. Hands turned in. Elbows out wide. Okay, stop. Show us discus javelin. We're out wide. Hands out or vertical. So your discus jab thrower. Sean, your bench press is pretty high, right?
Like stop.
Probably do a lot of push-ups too, right?
Like maybe 10.
Yeah. Okay, Kenzie, show us the hammer push-up. Diamond shape. Straight arms. And then she would plank there. Because it's not a push-up. Hammer throwers don't do push-ups. Also, planks, wall sits, time wasters. They're team building. They're for mental fortitude only. They have no transfer to you in the circle. If you're doing planks, throw movement into it. You can get in the position, but you've got to have some type of ballistic reaction in there. You just sitting in one place for a minute isn't going to do anything for you. For throwing transfer. Dips. Sean, can you come over and, I don't want to waste time doing that. Set that dip up. Okay, Kenzie, show us the floor setup. Years ago, oh yeah, okay. Floor sit-up is where we have our feet flat on the ground, no support. And Kenzie does her sit-ups, the feet cannot move. They stay flat on the ground, not allowed to move at all. I like this because it extends and elongates the strength path all the way through the entire body. Forces the athlete to think about being grounded. Okay, a lot of times when we're throwing, you tell the athlete, stay on the ground, stay grounded, and they just keep popping up, popping up, popping up. This is a way to get them mentally thinking about actually staying on the ground. It's very easy to feel your feet come off, and you have to push them out. Snatch sit-up. Do one over here. All right, snatch sit-up. Typically, you do this on an incline bench. Snatch sit-up, go ahead, Kenzie. Carry your bar out wide. No, stop here. You push the bar straight to the ceiling as you sit up, head comes under. Okay? When I was training professionally, I worked in a gym, and there's a bunch of young bucks, 14, 15, 16, and they would come in all the time. I was lucky enough to train and work in the same facility. And so I could train, walk upstairs, and I would work in the gym for 5 or 6 hours. And these guys were young, high school, and wanted to get bigger and bigger muscles. And they said, well, you got a big bench press, which is not really, I think I maxed like 415 at one time. I threw almost 70 feet for a 400 pound bench. And they asked me, how do you get strong? How do you get a big bench? And I said, well, I do lots of push-ups. And they thought I was joking. They're like, oh, they thought I was just trying to slough them off, didn't want to talk to them. And then it was about a year and a half later, and I got, there was some politics in the training group, and I got kicked out of the regular training facility, the weight room, and I had to go lift in the public weight room. Well, 2 years down the road, I'm lifting in the public weight room, and they see me doing lots of push-ups, lots of sit-ups, lots of dips, and they came up to me and said, oh, you weren't kidding about that. Another one of my philosophies is simple movements executed properly, timed properly, can give you more effect than you think. You don't have to be super fancy, but you have to be good and you have to do things at the right time. Okay. Dips. Okay. Dips. Great exercise for tricep force development. Floor assisted. Kenzie shows floor assisted dips. Foot assisted, floor assisted, either way. She's doing the same thing with her feet as she was with the pad of the bench press. She's giving a slight initial energy boost to get the body speed going in the right direction, and then the tricep can explode through at the throwing speed. Okay. Dips where you are completely suspended, or weighted dips completely suspended, great for strength building, good for general development. Sport specific, floor assisted, do the more explosive. Okay, front squat. Front squat, well, let's do back squat first. I'm sorry, right. Back squat, high catches in the Olympic lifts. We also want high bar position in the back squat. A lot of people, some people want more of a power position, power hold, with it low down on the scapula. The bar is more over the hips. For back squat, we want something very high, where the elbows can be behind the bar, under or behind the bar. This is a much more athletic position than having that bar way down behind you. This is a much slower movement. High bar, you can be much more dynamic in the back squat. Front squats. Show us cross arm. Cross arm we do not want to do. Not an athletic movement. The bar wobbles, there's no control. Bracket. We want the hands out past the shoulders. The bar sits on top of the pecs and the delts. Elbows out front. A lot of athletes cannot do this position. They're not flexible enough. If your athlete is not flexible enough, by my straps, and they will double. You wrap the bar and the straps around there. Now the athlete can do proper front squats, and you've given them increased flexibility with their hands. This is body weight, or you can hold a light ball between your feet with a squeeze for the activation. That was the novice version. Okay. 0 time on the bottom, 0 time on the top. Quick change of direction. Overload hyperbench example. You guys see this. The hyper machines where you have your feet on some, you can tie them off with some bands or with pegs, and you push the weights like a sling load. Not for track and field, not for throwing. That'd be for other sports. It's really easy to overload that machine, and you're forcing your little muscles to overcompensate in a slow speed. We need high speed. And a lot of exercises, body weight is just fine for us. Okay? Body weight is enough resistance. Dips, push-ups, half of your sit-ups, reverse hypers, hanging leg raises. Body weight is more than sufficient for most movers. And this is the parts we're going after. Grip strength. I want to come back to grip strength. That's something that's come up recently in the last few months too, is a lot of grip protocols for athletes. How much you can lift on the barbell before your grip fails has nothing to do with how far you can throw, and nothing to do with what that lift is going to do for your throwing ability. Okay? When we are throwing, we're not holding on to anything. You're letting it go. And you're not throwing like a baseball, you're pushing with an open hand. You're pushing these implements away from you. Okay? Strong hands are important, yes, but the mechanism, the modality that allows us to have grasping strength is vastly different than the modality of pushing strength, open-handed pushing strength. Very, very different. High grip strength will not keep you away from injury, and it will not keep you away, it will not improve your sling ability in the release of the implement. Okay? So, grip strength, important, yes, but pushing strength, more important. Okay, that's one of the reasons for push-ups. You come in, you can extend through your fingers. Right? The idea of pushing the implements. And then, what else did I want a reminder of?
Do you think are people just using the wrong word? Is it grip health that they should be using instead of strength?
Hand health.
Like hand
And
health?
hand health, you need to have a flexible hand. Okay, you don't want a tight paw. It has to be flexible. It has to be malleable to be explosive and springy on the implement at the finish. So hand health, yes, good. But grasping strength, gripping strength, not the primary goal.
Yeah. I think that language is the biggest thing. People don't understand words, how to use words the right way, so they have the wrong perspective of what it is, and it ends up not like that.
Right.
You need the right words.
Like we'll say, I don't know, plate grasps or a fat bar grip hold, plate loaded, versus putting your hand in a bucket of oats and pushing your hand flat back and forth. Right? Pushing your hand flat back and forth will be more beneficial than grasping something as tight as you can until you're white knuckled. Now, for me, I think that probably most athletes, if you're trained properly, are going to get enough of that pushing strength while they're throwing, while they're doing their special strengths, while they're loading the bars. I think you probably don't need to do a ton of it. A unless you get an injury. Yeah.
Just to kind of add a question to Sean about when you feel,
Right.
you feel 17, you come in, and you feel like you're actually 3 or 10.
Right.
How do you go about programming for that?
I wanted to expound that also to range throwing and saying today we're going to go 70% or today we're going to go 50%. Okay? The adaptability of the body. You expose it to stress, the body adapts. Let's say you expose your body 20 times to the same stimulus. 10 of those times will be at 50%. 3 of those times you're going to be at 70. 3 times you're going to be at 30. And then what's left? 1.5 or 2? You're going to be at 100, and you're going to be at 0. Naturally. Your body will go through a natural curve response when exposing it to the same stimulus over and over and over and over again. With my athletes, we do not seek certain percentage ranges. We go by perceived effort. You go as hard as you can for the day. And that might end up being a 50%, or that day might end up being an 80%. But the idea is across an entire program, your body will naturally hit a bell curve of all those percentages. So it's about being in the moment and saying, okay, you're on a low day, we're going to focus on the things that we do when we're at low percent. As opposed to if you come out, your athlete might be up, they might be 100% that day, and now you say, we're going 30%. And now you've lost an opportunity with that. That's my take on perceived efforts and percentage training.
So you have a template first, and then depending on what athlete's giving you with your face-to-face coaching, then you maybe lesser day or higher frequency day.
Yeah. And as you know, the athlete, you kind of anticipate what it's going to be like. They throw you a curveball, and that's one thing. But a lot of that is I'll get to the end of a training block, and you record it all, look back at what the athlete did, and now you have a baseline for what to expect for the next training program. Record it, look back, and then you can get into a rhythm with your athletes with regards to that. I presented on the idea of parts programming and extending a parts program throughout an entire high school season. That was all theory and conjecture. Kenzie was the guinea pig last year. And Kenzie, we went through a 12-week, it's messed up. It was a 12-week cycle. 12-week cycle every week. The average was she had 2 competitions in the week and an invitational on the weekend, so she was getting 3 of these workouts a week. On the other days of the week, we were doing lifting programs in the weight room, special strength, more traditional stuff. Kenzie, why don't you run through this? Give an example of one part.
Okay, so basically break this down into parts.
No, just do it. You do the program while I talk. Yeah. So this was stuff that Kenzie could take to the competition, right? Competitions. Just use little weights. We go to competitions, especially for high schoolers. You're going to competition 3 days a week. You're losing your growth opportunity, turning it into a training opportunity. So before her first event, she would do one part. She's going to show you one part. After that, she would do another part for warm-up for the second event, and then she'd do a third part after the second event. These exercises were designed to hit the whole body, not only as a warm-up and activation, but it also bolstered the stuff we were doing for long-term goals for her for the season. Some major weaknesses she had, and we incorporated that 3 times a week. It was not heavy stimulus. The idea is that she could take this stuff with her. She could do it at the surface side. Simple exercises, prescribed properly, done effectively, and have big results. Now what this does is the more times you expose the body to the same stimulus, okay, every single time she did this, it was the same weights, the same movements, in the same order. The more times you do that, your body responds, adapts, becomes better and better and better. As the season went on, she became a more confident athlete. She started going further. And her body hit sport form peak condition with the parts program. So then we went to districts, regions, and her body is in training mode. It is full adaptation, peak condition, and in pressure environments that Kenzie had never been in before, she performed over the expected limit because of the program. So, yeah, that was one part. So she was doing that 3 times in the competition. And over the course of the whole season, she ended up getting in 60 sessions, 60 training sessions with that training sequence.
Is that the first time you had done the parts program in the high school setting?
First time I did it, extended over 12 weeks in the high school setting, yes. That's a theory that I've used as a professional. Both Sean's in the back had trained on that system. And we would do that, you would do that every single training session for 2 or 3 weeks. And I took that and I extended it into the high school season. Because for high schoolers, and even like developing college athletes, your margins for failure are much smaller, and your margins for growth are more, I want to say acceptable, but more, your athlete's going to grow no matter what you do, right? So it's about turning the competition venue, a lost training opportunity, into a training opportunity without having to go back to school and get a big lift in after the bus ride and everything else. Any questions on that?
Do you utilize the same weight throughout the entire season?
For that program, yes. It was, did we ever change it? If we did change it, it was like after a couple weeks, and just a small change. The idea is that it's the same training stress every single time. So the idea is you pick a weight that is appropriate for the athlete, that they can do rather dynamically. Because it's not about total weight move, it's about the dynamic, right? How fast can they change direction? How stable is their body? And the reality is, especially for high schoolers, the reality is the implements are 12 pounds, 8 pounds, 2 pounds. They're not heavy. So it's about moving something fairly light, out wide, fast, and very stable. So you can get away with 10-pound plates, 15, 20-pound dumbbells.
And that was a pre-competition, more of a warm-up.
We did what she just did. She would do that right before she did shotgun.
Right.
And then she would do it right before she would do discus an hour later. And then she'd do a third part after discus. Yeah. So the idea is a warm-up, but it's really more about just an opportunity to expose the body to stress across the whole season.
And what was the overhead side?
Alternating overhead side bench.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Just okay.
That's a great one. You push one shoulder down, push one shoulder up. Complete extension to the torso. Back and forth. That's a sleeper exercise. Your athletes, you have to do that. They'll be sore easier than you